So I was up late the other night thinking about how I could have the best fit climbing shoe possible, and I ended up coming up with the idea of making a mold of my foot with something like really solid that I could just cram into this shoe and basically have the shoe slowly morph to the shape of my foot. So here's all the stuff I ordered on Amazon, and we're ready to go. So these are the shoes. So to specify, I wear a size 11 for normal shoes. You can see there, I don't know if you can see it, but size 11. These are Climb X. I've never heard of them before, but they were $50. So we'll see. I think they're mostly plastic and rubber. $50 climbing shoes. These are size 9s. So these are 2 whole sizes down. One of these is the mold, and one of them is the plaster that goes inside the mold. I was hoping for something a bit harder because I'm afraid the plaster might break. Come on, can you help? Get it, find it. Oh, thank you so much. You're so helpful. This is the plaster mix. This is, oh, it says on the box. Okay, so this is alginate. This is a carcinogen-free mold-making material, so you can put it on your skin to make molds of body parts. And they showed a picture of a pregnant woman using it on her stomach, so if you're willing to do that, then that shouldn't be too dangerous on my foot. There we go, there's our plaster. So this is what's gonna make my foot. So I'm hoping this will get hard enough to not break under the intense pressure of the shoe. Ah! Oh damn, there's a lot in here. Look at, that's a big bag of Algisafe. Hey. Just because it's carcinogen-free doesn't mean it's edible. Practice. Make a mold of your thumb. Make a mold of something small before going to large models. You'll gain a lot of experience with a small test. We're not doing that. Why are you so interested in what I'm doing? Adult hand or foot. Perfect. 1 pound. Alright, so we need 1 pound of alginate. Alright, let's get a container. We need something big enough for my foot. Ooh, I don't think this is quite deep enough. My foot's too big. So I decided I'm just gonna use this because it fits my foot the best. And I'm gonna use some 100-mile-an-hour tape. This stuff can fix up just about anything. All right, so we got it done. Looks perfect on the inside, ain't nothing getting out of there. That's airtight. Now we just gotta mix the alginate, so we'll get started. Do you think I could use your mixer? It's carcinogen free, so it means it's like okay to eat. I don't know if that's true. Mixing and pouring. Mixing can be hand mixed, but best results will be obtained using a power drill with a mixer attachment, blah, 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 blah. Actually, I don't even know if yours will be good enough. I think I can hand mix it better, to be honest. Let's be real. Shit, which one of these is the alginate? Oh no. I think the big one. Should probably not have these right next to each other. Alright, alginate. I gotta get to mixing good.
God.
I'm losing a lot of powder here. How the fuck are you supposed to mix it without losing all the powder? All right. It's time to test the structural integrity of our mold. Oh fuck. It's not nearly deep enough. We're gonna have to make do. We're gonna try to have my toes kind of like this, because that's how you want them in a climbing shoe. So I'm gonna try to have them kind of compressed. Oh no, it's already settling. Might have to do a take 2 on this one. Oh yeah, that is good. Look at that, a perfect mold. All right, we're gonna have to try again. I think we're gonna have to use a lot more and probably have to use a mixer. All right, here we go. Using our extremely nice mixer. So this better work. Oh, looking good. A perfect fit. Get a nice slow start. Move it up a bit. Oh god. Come on. It's not off to a great start. There we go. I'm feeling good about this one. I think this is gonna be the one. There we go. Get it. Ready for the port? Oh yeah, that's way better. Get out!
Oh.
Oh, this is a way better fit. It's hot. All right. We're off to a pretty good start. My toes are starting to cramp from being pressed together because I'm holding them together, but it's really starting to solidify. As you can see, I can lift the whole thing up. All right, I think we're there. I think we're ready to see the final product. I'm gonna take my foot out now. That's pretty darn good. Obviously not perfect, but we got ourselves a pretty good mold. Now it's time to make some plaster and fill it in. Start with the little twinkle toes. Just to be safe. All right. There's our plaster. Now we just gotta let it settle. It'll take about 30 minutes. It's been about 24 hours. It might be a little bit longer. And yeah, it's hard to tell. Everything still feels wet. Oh man, the whole box. Okay, so the box is basically ruined, so I can just rip the box. I thought I could reuse it, but it's so wet. It is so wet in here. I thought it would be like really dry by now. It looks so gross. Oh no. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, so this has to be strong enough to resist the shoe. The mold does, so hopefully it's a little bit stronger than that. Oh yeah. Oh yes. I'm so excited to get to the toes. It's pretty solid. I'm definitely not going to use it yet because that plaster was super soft. I feel like it's usually a bit harder than that. So there's the heel. That's pretty good. You can see like the skin. This might work as long as I don't crack it right now. The reveal. Oh my god, they got my toenails. My big ass toenails. So here we have it. The plaster foot. My foot. I want to let it get like fully dry. So it's just like a dry piece of plaster. And then we're gonna stick it in a shoe. You're laughing. It's my foot. It's so cool. It's way cooler than I thought it was gonna be. It's literally my foot, like perfectly. I was so like ready to be disappointed. We decided, because this process took so long, that we're gonna do just my actual foot to try to shape the left one. So I'm going to be soaking both of them periodically in warm water, one with this in it and one with my actual foot in it. And we're going to see which one shapes better. So we're soaking the shoes to get the rubber a little soft. The plan is to have them soaked like the majority of the time. It's not going to be a super fair comparison because I'm not going to keep my foot soaked in water for days, but I will leave the other one soaked for days. We don't want to use, I was going to use boiling water first, but since I'm putting my foot in too, I didn't really want to put my foot in boiling water, so I decided to just do warm water. And also the glue that holds the sole on would probably start to melt. So it's a good choice overall. If I don't get results, I might switch to boiling water. In the name of science, I will boil my foot. And I looked it up, plaster should maintain perfectly fine when it gets wet. I don't know why it wouldn't, although it was made with water, so I'm afraid it might just like re-dissolve when it gets wet, but online they said that it is perfectly fine getting wet and it won't ruin it. So here we go. Oh my god, it's so different than the shoe. Oh, you can see it like forming where the toe is. Let's get these out. That's not a good sound. I'm pretty sure one of the toes broke off. I felt something pop. But we're good. It does not want to go in. It's all good as long as it gets in. Well, that's filled out. My big toe's right there. Oh, I can feel all the toes. So the toes actually worked. The toes are in, like, well. The heel might not be shaped very well, but we know the toes will work. I think that's as good as we're gonna get it. It's in there. The toes you can see are lined up pretty well. So it's time to start soaking it, and we'll see what happens. I've been soaking for like, what, 10 minutes now? My foot's starting to hurt. The water gets unbelievably hot. I don't know why they would design it to get this hot. It's at like 44 Celsius right now. I don't know what that is, but it's too hot, whatever that is. It was going up to 48 and I had to stop it because it was starting to burn my foot. So the shoe's been soaking for 3 days. We left it soaking in warm and then cold and then warm and then cold water for about 3 days. And it's been out for about 1 day drying. So it's time for the final unveiling. We're gonna find out how well the foot held up, A, and B, how well it formed. So let's find out. Guess we're pulling out the toes first. I feel like the toes broke. I feel like I remember hearing them like pop when I was pulling at one point. Toes all broke, okay. The toes are still in there. They're just all broken off. Hopefully they're in relatively the spot they were supposed to be in. It looks like they're still together, which is good. Like, oh no, I lost a toe. Yeah, that's not too bad. This is the final result of the shoe. Just so you can see how much it formed. It's much broader now than the other one, and you can see where the toes bulged out. So the toes have formed the rubber a bit. This one is just a smooth arc. This one is much more deformed, and then the heels are huge difference on the shoes. This one is huge now to fit my heel. So the final question is, how does it fit? And we're gonna find out right now as soon as I get all this plaster out of it. All right, the moment of truth. Let's see. Oh my God. No way. I mean, it literally feels like there's no room for anything else but my foot, but there's no pressure on my foot at all. I gotta lace it up. Let me see. I mean, it fits perfectly. You can see, like, I guess you can't see the inside of it, but it's like, it's nuts. Like, even where my foot's so fat that, like, even here it's like rolled over already. And it's exactly like I said, where the shoe is still tight. Like, it's not like the shoe's stretched out and loose. It is stretched out, but it's stretched out in just the right dimensions that fit my foot. So at no part of my foot are my toes like being pressed or bent or crushed, but they are gently being pushed into that closed position that I made with my foot when I made the mold. So they're mostly like when they go in, the toes just kind of slide together like this. And I mean, it's the most perfect fit you could ever have. Like, I might have to do this for every pair of shoes I get from now on, but we still have to see how they climb before I can say for sure. So let's take them climbing. Alright, so the problem that I'm trying is this
910, and it is on a very slabby vertical wall. The reason I chose this is because it's slabby, and also the final move requires you to have right foot here, which is a pretty good foothold, but then left foot here, which is really bad. So these are the feet we're looking at. This is the right foot that towards the end. As you can see, it's pretty bad, but it felt really good with the right foot. So I think the right shoe really worked. That's the left foot, and it felt horrible, but I think that's because the left shoe just isn't shaped very well.
So the biggest difference I noticed was soaking the shoes in general definitely worked. That was the first thing. The left foot was the one that I had only soaked and with my actual foot in it. And I did it way less than I did with the right shoe. And it still felt like a shoe that I'd worn before and climbed in. And it felt pretty good. Now, the first thing that's really important is neither of the shoes felt that great because it was very obvious that this was a $50 shoe. Like, these shoes were not the best. I will say, sorry Climax, but like, they were still too big, even though they were a size and a half smaller, which I know is different depending on the brand. You're probably wondering, did the right shoe feel better than the left shoe? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, 150%. The right shoe felt incredible. I mean, it felt like a shoe. It felt like when you wear a pair of climbing shoes for like 8 months and they're almost done, like they're almost blown out, but you're trying to squeeze every last like session out of them because they fit so good. This shoe felt like that. It felt like the perfect fit shoe. And if it weren't for the fact that it was such a cheap shoe, I think honestly it would already feel better than the shoes I wear now. And it was noticeable mostly with the problems I was doing that had really precise feet or really small footholds. I noticed that I didn't pop off with my right foot a single time. And I specifically picked problems that had both really hard moves with the right foot and left foot. And all of the problems that had really hard left foot moves, I think I popped off at some point with that left foot, and I just couldn't feel secure with that left foot. So it worked very, 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 very well. They almost look similar now because I've worn them and climbed in them, but you can still see that this one is shaped a lot more, especially around the outside. It is contoured more to my foot being wider. This one has already done it a bit, and I think that's from soaking it and wearing it. So with Climb X, I'm thinking next time, if I were to do this brand again, I would go 2.5 sizes smaller. I mean, it was that big of a difference. Like, with this one on, like my heel wasn't even like touching the back of it. I think the two things are even smaller would be the first one. The second one would be, I think the plaster was just too brittle. So I'll probably go with something more hard, like aluminum for the next one. Melt like cans or something, so that the toes don't break off like that. The last thing, I think I'm gonna take the foot out while it's still wet and then let it dry by itself, because when it dries, that's when the rubber shrinks. And it shrinking while the shoe is in there, let it fit better. But I think it allowed just a bit too much space, because the shoe is still a bit
loose. It fit like a glove. I mean, it fit like a really good pair of shoes. I just think we could make it better by it already being formed to the foot, but then letting it dry with that form and condense a bit more so it still has like the tightness of a climbing shoe, but without crushing your foot or pushing it into positions you don't want. Because that's really the main issue with climbing shoes. It isn't that they're tight, it's that they're not tight shaped to your foot. So certain parts of your foot, like I have really wide feet. If I want a shoe that's tight this way, it's so tight this way that it hurts. I mean, it's pressing significantly harder on the edges of my foot than it is on the front and back. Whereas somebody else might have the opposite problem. They might have really long, narrow feet. So if they want a shoe that fits really good this way, it might be crushing their toes. Their toes might be curling up like this, which you don't want. So this would allow it to form to that and then dry and shrink. Yeah, so that's it. So it worked and it kind of didn't work. I think all around it's a really, really good idea. And I think we're going to keep moving forward with it and trying to get the perfect fit shoe. So far, I would definitely recommend trying it if you want to. It's really fun and it takes a lot of time out of getting the shoes to fit right and be comfortable. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time with the better fit shoe.